exist.
But did you have this sort of team of stylists, people working on the set with you, or was it quieter and more?
Well,
were there editors?
I had a team of stylists who hated me because I always made them do things that they didn't want to do.
Like what?
Well, like when the girl was standing there with her dress, and the dress didn't fall quite perfectly, I wouldn't allow them to go there and push and pull and put needles or something and put the right, because I knew that the expression wouldn't be the same. So I said, don't do it. And of course, the instinct was to do it. And the hairdresser's instinct, when a bit of hair fell down, was to rush there.
Rush in and fix it.
And so people would keep rushing in, and I would never get my photographs. And I hated them, and they hated me, and it was highly dramatic.
Any other questions? Yes, just behind you. I don't know. I'm not sure. That's kind of way at the beginning, unless I can sort of cycle back. No. But why? Before I do that. Oh, here we go. Okay, thank you, Ray.
Of course not. Of course, it just happened. No. Oh, no.
From this period, who were you looking at as a photographer? Because this reminds me of Robert Frank in some ways.
Yes, I mean, I didn't know of Robert Frank. I couldn't say that I really knew enough about him. I mean, really, the reference at the time was Cartier-Bresson. Definitely. And only a few years later, I realized how much Robert Frank had brought into photography, other than what Cartier-Bresson was doing.
Right.
But I realized that much later.
Well, okay, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, very much so. Very much. I mean, Do made us all discover August Sander. I mean, the Do issue I remember is a Do issue with August Sander's work, which was totally unknown.
Oh.
And at that time, that
really?
must have been 58 or something like that. And that influenced everyone. I mean, Avedon was deeply influenced by it. Diane Arbus was deeply influenced by it. It influenced the whole of photography. It was a total revelation to all of us. Yeah, I hadn't seen those, but I remember seeing seeing August Sander, and that was a total revelation.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, it was fantastic, I know.
Well, I'm just thinking about the culture of magazines. When I think Harper's Bazaar was a very influential magazine for a lot of reasons, because the editors were conscious of, I think, reaching a sophisticated audience, not just with fashion, but with fiction, with Brassai, Lisette Model, all the people who worked at Bazaar who were not fashion photographers, who were, and they were kind of took it on themselves to expose a whole range of art photography that had nothing to do with fashion.
There was another magazine which was not as important as Do, but quite good and quite important, which was Réalité in France. For
yes,
them I
back
worked
there.
a lot. Yes.
Sorry. Yes?
I'm not sure I understand your question.
Fashion photography today. Any ideas?
Well, I avoid looking at magazines when I'm at a dentist or whatever. I get very angry when I see them. Well, because it's supposed to be the same thing that I was doing, and it's not at all.
You don't think that there are great fashion photographers working today?
I don't know any.
No.
I'm not often enough at the dentist to be able to tell you.
Next. Yes.
Well, when I was younger and I didn't have the authority to prevent it, I just suffered from it. And then as I became better known, I had the authority to prevent it and saying, I don't want my photographs to be cropped. And so they were not.
Was that both parts? Okay. Oh, yes.
Well, yes, of course there were moments when it was hard, and there were moments when I didn't agree with what they did. And of course there were many moments where they found that I was particularly obnoxious. Definitely. But then I have this way, it's like what we spoke about it before about languages. Like I speak several languages and like to live in different countries. And when something doesn't work, I move away to something else. So I managed.
It never got you down?
Sorry?
It never got you down?
No, I managed.
Anything else? Yes.
Well, the 35 millimeter is really part of the Henri Cartier-Bresson dogma. And so I accepted it as I accepted his dogma. And then I got used to it. And if I stuck to it, it is probably because it is more immediate than the 6x6. With a 35 millimeter, you see and click. With a 6x6 or a larger camera, you have to look, you have to think, you have to focus. It takes a little longer. And of course, nowadays for me, the 35 millimeter Leica seems unpractical. And even a Nikon seems unpractical. The only practical thing is a digital compact I have always in my pocket, which is much more practical. And the digital compact is really something where I have the impression I can see and photograph almost simultaneously. And seeing is almost photographing. And for me, this is the ideal. I mean, for me, the digital age is total happiness. I mean, it's the best thing that ever happened.
Do you, if you were still taking fashion photographs, would you be using a digital?
Of course.
Of course.
Of course.
Yeah. Would it free you in a certain way?
Sorry?
Would it make you even more free?
Well, look, I've been wondering just in these days or in these weeks about that. Would I do fashion photography again? Certainly not for the magazines as they are.
But what if, I'm sorry, that it did seem to me that it occurred to me at one point, a lot of, especially Harper's Bazaar in the U.S. has been bringing back the photographers who used to work there, Hero, Melvin Sokolsky. I'm surprised they haven't called you. And would you consider that?
No, definitely not. I don't have the energy. But there's a fashion series I have in mind.
Oh.
I have a new assistant who is now in Paris, who is a young girl. She's 24, and she's I would say she's almost a genius in photography. She really does great photographs, and she loves fashion. Every day she comes to the studio with a different dress or with a different, accessory or something, and not at all to be seen or to be admired or even to be pretty. It's just the idea of working on it, of doing something. And I almost decided, or we decided with her, to make a series of photographs with her.
Yeah.
Because there suddenly I had the impression, well, after all, fashion is not just this boring commercial thing where people put things on the market to make money, but there can be something else about it. And after all, I wouldn't mind coming back to that and trying.
Well, it can be something real and exuberant and really an expression.
It can be something, and I think this is something I would like for once, before it's too late, to come back to and try.
I would love to see
that. Because there's something would really happen, and I probably would get the magazine to publish it.
Yes.
It's a Canon. They're all more or less the same now. It's okay. Yes, yes. The amusing thing about that camera, and the adventurous thing about this camera, is that I never quite see what I'm doing, because and this is a real point about it. I hold it like this, and my eyes are not really good enough to see exactly. So I really only see it the day after, or 3 days after, when I see it on my screen. So there's always this thing of not quite knowing, and it's very funny because a lot of people say, yes, now that with digital you shoot 10 times more. Well, I don't. I shoot 10 times less. I shoot 10 times less, A, because it's not professional anymore. I do it for my own pleasure, not for a client. And B, because I like this feeling of saying, well, maybe I have it by miracle, and if I don't have it, the miracle didn't happen. I don't have to make sure. And also because I found out that usually the first photograph I take is the best one. So there are many reasons. And it works, and I wouldn't work with anything else. I photographed something in nature, and this morning I took a good photograph of my friend Christine, who is here. And it's not a bad photo. Whatever happens to be around, be there.
Yes.
Sorry, can you say it again? No, I don't. Look, I have no affection for cameras. I would give them away or throw them away. I couldn't care less. I have no, it's not important. But every time a new camera comes up, I like to see what it brings me. And very often, it opens up a new world, because it opens up possibilities that I didn't see before. So that interests me. But I have no particular feeling for the object. I couldn't care less.
You have no nostalgia for...
Oh no. But these cameras, for one thing, the possibility of getting close to things is so extraordinary. And the other thing, the possibility of having everything sharp. Practically total depth of field, which I like. Other people don't. But then every camera has something different, and this something different opens up a whole percentage, a whole section of the world, which I couldn't catch before. So yes, it's really exciting.
Is there anything else? Any other questions?
No. The only problem is that as I'm a little taller as many people, I tend to photograph from above, and I'm too lazy to go low down, which sometimes I should. But no.
I like that Sophia Loren, Audrey Hepburn. I'm not sure where that came from. Yes.
Well, if there was, I certainly wouldn't have photographed her.
Why is that? Too easy.
Because my idea has always been, if a woman looks beautiful in my photographs, it has to be because I make her look beautiful, not because she's beautiful. So, as a matter of fact, when I was a fashion photographer, which was a long time ago, models used to telephone to fix an appointment and to come and show the book. And I would practically decide I want to photograph this girl or not to photograph her because of her voice.
Oh. How often did that work out?
I would not photographing a girl because I didn't like her voice.
But were you disappointed? How many times were you disappointed in that decision?
I don't think I was, because when I liked the voice, it meant that this woman had something that I wanted to show. So it was up to me to try to find out a way of showing it. I mean, obviously there may be exceptions, but in general, this thing about the voice worked.
Oh, interesting. Anything else? Yes. Except for the fact that I did that, I'm not sure what else I could say. It was definitely something that Frank and I discussed in advance. It was something that I, at the beginning, was a little reluctant to do. I wanted to focus on fashion. But the more I looked at the work and the more I talked to Frank, the more I realized that it was useful and important to show where the fashion photographs came from, and to show them in the context of his work, and to show how they actually work together. So in the end, I didn't expect to hang them alongside one another, but I did, because I felt that they really had a conversation, and a lot of them, since they're coming from the same vision, fit together in a very interesting way. It was important for me then to find a way to make them connect, to make the connection real and vivid.
May I add something?
Please.
What also I like about Vince's hanging is that by mixing the non-directive and the directive photography, the person who looks at the exhibition is never quite sure about what is real and what is staged. And again, this was my discussion with Cartier-Bresson. I like this ambiguity. It could be staged or it could be real, and you don't know.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'd like to express my thanks to Frank Horvat and Vince Aletti and to all of you for coming to this afternoon. It was a kind of spontaneous
Thanks for all your questions.
Thank you.
Oh, you're not too. You need to get a little closer. They're not really that wide anymore.